everybody, welcome to the Outer Rim and our spooky Sith special. I am Carbonite. With me, as always, is Ray. Ray, do you like Halloween?
I do. It's not my favorite holiday, but it's fun because obviously you
No.
get to dress up
All
and get
right.
a little spooky.
Well, then let me ask you this. Do you enjoy spooky Sith things?
I enjoy spooky Sith things very much.
Okay. Well, very, very, very good. So today on the Outer Rim, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the different spooky things in the Star Wars universe. Maybe not all of them. That would take a while. We're just going to kind of cram in as much as we can. Um, but yeah, it's one thing in the Star Wars galaxy. It's made for kids. George Lucas has said as much, but there's some keep you up at night. You know, especially in the expanded universe. Pardon the legends. You know, um, so yeah. So Ray, what do you say? We take a look at the 2012 Galactic Files Sith cards that are within the hobby pretty popular. Would you say?
The set itself, yes, I would say so, because it's with a 350 character checklist. It's one of the few places that you get to see many Sith who do not appear elsewhere.
Exactly, exactly. So, without further ado, let us take you to some cards from the Outer Rim. So, Ray, I don't know if you've noticed, but we are doing today's show from a special location.
Coming to
These
you
are
live
not
from
the
Mustafar.
live from Mustafar, uh, Vader's castle. You could see in the background. I booked us this nice Airbnb overlooking the lava fields and Vader's headquarters, just so we could do this segment here.
It's
Uh,
a little hot, but the view is lovely.
exactly, exactly. All right, so 2012 Galactic Files um, has some Sith cards. Like they do a whole run of these Sith from Legends, Sith from the movies, all this stuff, and it's a lot of characters you might know, a lot of characters you might not know. So what Ray and I are going to do is we're going to sit here and we are going to rate each Sith 1 to 5 Force Ghosts on how scary or spooky the Sith are. So first one up, Galen Marek. Uh, Ray, what do you know about Galen Marek?
I believe he was Darth Vader's apprentice, and
Yes.
I have to say, I think you have a little bit. There you go, a little bit more info on him. Born on Kashyyyk, which is sort of interesting because I always thought Kashyyyk was just Wookiees, but
Well,
I guess
he is
not.
the son of two exiled Jedi.
Aha, there you go. Thank you. I
Yeah.
missed that part. So clearly, rebelled against his parents and went and became a pupil of Vader instead. But I have to say, I'm sort of only giving him one Force Ghost in terms of scariness because I couldn't really find anything he did that was that spooky, other than the fact that he had scary allies.
Yeah, I believe this is Star Killer, right, from the Force Unleashed video games, and I know he's got a kind of a big cult following, but I agree. I would give him like 1 to 1.5. He challenges Vader, right? I believe he fights and nearly defeats Vader, but as far as Sith go, yeah, not that spooky, right? Not that
And
spooky. All right,
also never really made it past that. So
exactly. All right, so now we have Darth Malak. Now, I mean, look at this picture. It looks like he's, album cover worthy here, this picture. This is amazing. Um, Obviously has some force lightning skills. Red lightsaber, crossing it up like this, looking pretty spooky, bald head. Pretty spooky, I would say. So what do we know about him?
So I'm giving him 3 Force Ghosts. I think these Jedi who start out as good and fall to the dark side. I think that there's something just very sinister about that, and then of course going on to be in the Republic War and all of the devastation that he and Revan do there. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I mean, I just like you said, just the impact that him and Revan had on the galaxy was pretty profound. And just to look at him, this is the kind of, if I had a statue, a Sith statue, I'd put him on my front lawn at Halloween night for sure.
He'd make a good Halloween decoration. Do we remember what BBY stands for?
Yeah, before the Battle of Yavin,
Thank you.
because the Battle of Yavin is 0.
Right.
That's how they measure time in the Star Wars universe. All right, and speaking of Darth Revan, here he is. One, by the way, this card is I can't. Every time I get one of these cards, everyone's like, "Can I have it? Can I buy it? Do you have Darth Revan?" Um, Obviously has a following in the Star Wars world, but the Revanchist, falls to the dark side while mercilessly hunting Mandalorian stragglers and becomes a conquering Sith Lord. So he
Careful,
starts
he's
off as a
coming for you,
Jedi
Mando.
during the Mandalorian Wars, goes off and just starts. Oh my God, what is he doing? And he succumbs to the dark side. Super powerful, conquers a big swath of the galaxy. I just think for reputation alone, I'm going to give him 4 Force Ghosts out of 5. Ray, what do you think?
I'm still sticking with 3 only because to me it's not necessarily spooky so much as just more like the tactics and the revenge of him. But he does have a really iconic mask, and like you say, people see this card and love this card. So clearly an iconic figure, but not necessarily the scariest to me.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. All right, next, Jorah Sabaf, from the Timothy Zahn, Thrawn trilogy. He is actually a clone of a Jedi that has fallen to the dark side, used by the Emperor and Thrawn as sort of a tool to defeat the New Republic, right? That they wanted this guy to kind of take the mantle. Um, Beard's awesome, right? Just old man beard.
He's the most Gandalfy wizardy of all the Sith.
Yeah,
Um,
but I'm still giving him one Force Ghost. I can't give him more. It just the look alone. He could be Santa Claus. He could be Gandalf. He could be a fallen dark side Jedi clone.
All right,
You
I'm
take your
gonna
pick.
one up you. I'm gonna give him 2 Force Ghosts only because having read the books, he does sort of keep Luke hostage for a while, and he plays a lot of mind games when he's whoever he's with, whether it's Luke or other characters in the story. So to me, that does get him an extra Force Ghost there.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. All right, moving on. We have Darth Krayt. Uh, First of all, the mask alone, probably one of the coolest masks. I know not your favorite Sith mask, but still pretty ridiculous. So he's in that sort of strange post Return of the Jedi Legends universe where this extra galactic race, the Yuzan Vong, come invade the galaxy. Um, and he was a Clone Wars hero, captured by the Yuzan Vong, falls to the dark side, and then actually rules the galaxy for 7 years, as a Sith Lord. So pretty interesting. I think the mask alone brings him up to 3 Force Ghosts personally. But that can't. I don't know if I can give more. 7 years is a good run. Would he have the 7-year itch and just packed it in, went to a different galaxy? Who knows? But yeah, I'd say 3.
I'll agree with you on that. I think extra points for the mask, but I couldn't find much about that rule of his for those 7 years that would make him much scarier than that. Just more power hungry than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Darth Talon, the story of what could have been, right? For those of you who don't know, I believe George Lucas wanted Darth Talon to actually be the villain in the sequels trilogy. This character's been around a long time. Um, Again, another fan favorite. You can guess why. I don't know.
She looks
Maybe.
like the love child between Darth Maul and a Twi'lek, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. And I think that's what actually might not
She
that
may
she's Darth
be.
Maul's kid, but yeah. But that said, in the stories, becomes the hand of Darth Krayt tried to kidnap Cade Skywalker, but then kind of just fails, and that's
Yes.
it. You know,
Yeah, for
uh,
that reason, I'm giving her only just one Force Ghost. She looks amazing, but she just didn't seem that spooky to me.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it two, just on the account of, you know, how can I say this? You know, she walks in to the bar and, scaring everyone, and uh it's one of those, like, you're not approaching this person, this Twi'lek, no matter what, in any scenario, in any place, for any reason whatsoever. uh she probably applies for a lot of jobs and gets rejected just based on her looks. A lot of people just judge her on her looks.
Can you imagine such
Oh
a
man,
thing?
yeah, just look, she's mean. Oh, she's evil. Look at this. And I kind of feel bad, but I'm gonna give her two. I'm gonna give her two Force
All
Ghosts,
right,
just
fair enough.
because she's committed. She's committed to that evil look. And there you go. But again, not very effective Sith at
No.
all. So there you go. All right, Darth Bane. Um, you know, a posing. He was a front man for a post metal hardcore band in the early 2000s.
It looks like maybe
That,
a member of Kiss with the makeup.
yeah, well, I was thinking more like emo, with the
Hmm,
eyeliner and
okay.
everything, just missing the hair. But Darth Bane, um, they sort of call him the heart and soul of the Sith. And what did he do? He creates the rule of two, right? 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, he creates the rule of two. Um, which again, it's not this like happy fun rule where, oh, you can only have two Sith. It's no, there are two Sith, apprentice and master, and the apprentice's job is to constantly test the master and constantly challenge the master until the apprentice is more powerful than the master and he kills the master and starts the cycle all over again, right? Pretty brutal, pretty dark rule that he creates. But obviously still followed 1,000 years into our favorite Star Wars timeline.
So yes, although I have to say, he just, I don't know, he sort of strikes me as meh when it comes to being scary. He doesn't have a cool mask, and that rule of two doesn't work out so well. so so I think I'm only giving him, maybe three.
So I'm thinking him, if he went to a Sith convention and he walked into the room, he's gonna be the keynote, right? He's gonna be the keynote speaker at a Sith convention, right? He's gonna walk in the room and people are gonna whisper, "Oh, there's Darth Bane, right? Oh, get his autograph. Maybe we should get his autograph. Maybe we should, this and that." And so if he garners that much respect within the Sith community, I gotta give him four Force Ghosts. I
All
gotta
right,
give him.
all right, fair
And
enough.
again, the bald, don't take away from my friend for being the bald and not having the mask. He's so spooky, he doesn't need a mask. You see
Aha.
what I'm saying? He just commands that attention without the mask, and that, but yeah. So I'm gonna give him four because he's the OG rule of two guy. I don't know.
All right.
All right, moving on. Our guy Darth Plagueis the Y. So we got to see him. We got to see a sneak peek of Darth Plagueis. Ready? I'll do
Lurking in the
Darth
cave
Plagueis'
there.
scene. Ready? This is his scene. And that's it. That's it.
Yes.
That's all you get to see.
That was very well acted, Mando.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
that's
Thank you.
exactly what he does, and everybody kind of went wild, like, "Oh, we got to see him."
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, his name comes right from the word plague. Clearly, a very just sort of sinister, insidious guy, right? He's the master who trained Sidious. You got to be pretty spooky if you're going to have an apprentice like Darth Sidious. So, but that said, he himself, I couldn't find much that he really did. So maybe two Force ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, he trained Sidious, right? But so sort of the midichlorian manipulation, and we're gonna get this. I know there's another Sith coming that it really gets in on this sort of expanding life and extending life sort of thing. Um, he's your Sith scientist. That's all he really is. Is he a mad scientist, experimenting with midichlorians and things like that? Maybe. I'm giving him two Force Ghosts. I can't really.
Yep.
go
I'm
beyond
good.
the tube. I just the look in the lightsaber, I think he's creepy, but sort of like in that, you know, in that scientisty kind of
I
way.
think you said it perfectly. He's a mad scientist more than a, crazy villain.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly. All right. Ooh, Darth Nihil. So, I mean, this he goes hard. This is one of the hardest looking Siths out there. I mean, look at this guy. He must be crazy powerful. Must have accomplished so much as a Sith. Look at him. Find him on the battlefield, you're running the other way, you know? Those spiky shoulder pads, obviously. Maybe he played high school football and just sort of kept the look, added a few spikes. Um, but yeah, what are your first impressions of this guy, Ray?
well, first impressions based on look, precisely what you're saying. But if you go to the next slide and you know what happens to the guy, he loses his arm to Kate Skywalker, then he quits.
Yeah, and he kind of goes
So
away, right?
he's sort of, I think he's kind of all show, this guy. I don't know that there's actually a whole lot of, substance underneath that showy armor.
Yeah, all bark and no bite. He takes
Hmm.
he takes 4.5 hours to get ready for the battle.
Yeah.
In the mirror, doing the makeup, making sure the shoulder pads are looking good,
Got
and then
that
he gets
crosshatch
out there
there.
and oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he gets out there and slice. Oh no, and
Oh,
then
I quit.
you
Yeah.
know what? He takes his lightsaber and he goes home. Like he's
So
just
I'm only giving him one. He
yeah.
gets 1 point for armor, but that's it.
I'm gonna give him a half a Force Ghost
Okay.
just because come on, man. Give get a little more gumption
You
here.
keep fighting after it's mere flesh wound, right? You can keep fighting
Exactly.
after you lose a right
Exactly.
arm.
Oh, all right. Oh, dark. Luke Skywalker. So in the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Luke falls to the dark side. We talked about earlier. Kind of that big what if scenario. Um, he confronts the clone emperor. A lot of clones, by the way, in the a lot of cloning going on in the legends, post Jedi,
Mhm.
which is
Expanded
interesting.
universe.
Yeah, an expanded universe. Because obviously cloning plays a big part in the prequels too. So why wouldn't it play a big part, post Jedi? But he succumbs to the dark side, but Leia comes to his rescue and saves the
You're
day.
welcome.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, thank you, Princess Rhea. See what I did there?
Uh-huh.
Um,
I have to say, I'm more afraid for the state of this guy's under eye circles and like the need to just rush him some cream very badly than I am about how scary he actually is. Because we know he's still Luke on the inside and he's going to come back. So I think I really only give Dark Luke maybe one Force Ghost.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It's Luke. There's good in him. He didn't really change his look. He just sort of brushed his hair to the side a little bit. Maybe didn't wash it last night, and that's
The
all it
under
is.
eye
Yeah, dark
circles.
circles.
I'm telling you, he just didn't get
Put
enough
some put
sleep.
some of those cool contact lenses in,
Yep.
and but I'm gonna give him zero Force Ghost for
Ooh,
spookiness because
why?
again, he looks exactly like Luke Skywalker. What am I afraid of? What's so spooky about that, right? Now, if he had fallen even further and became a Sith Lord, or we might have a different conversation. But in this
He may have
context,
chosen a mask of some sort.
exactly, exactly, yeah. So zero for me, one for Ray.
Okay,
That's
I'm giving
that's all
him
you're
one.
getting, Dark Luke.
Sorry.
All right, Darth Nihilus.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now he's got Halloween written all over him. I think, just with the look, the robes. He's dressed all in black, has the red classic red lightsaber. Um, Pretty spooky looking. What do you think, Ray?
Okay, I'm giving this guy, I think, a full five. If you go off to this next one, first of all, if this guy jumps out at you in a haunted house, like I'm out of there. If my Latin is maybe correct, I think his name is the root word for nothing, right?
Hmm.
And he's called the Lord of Hunger. He's feeding off of this force energy from all the Jedi that he's purging. This guy scares the
Yeah.
crap
And
out
if
of
I
me.
and if I have my canon correct, he has to feed off the force energy of the Jedi to keep himself together. Like under that robe, if he it's something like if he like takes the mask off, his dark energy will just explode and go everywhere.
Crazy.
And so he's just by sheer force of will keeping himself together in terms of energy, and he's more force energy than he is uh, uh, human, if he's a human or alien. And I agree. I'm gonna. He eats Jedi. I'm giving him 5 Force Ghosts. He eats Jedi. I mean,
Jedi
that,
cannibalism. Yeah,
that is the spookiest,
that's scary.
right?
So I'm giving him 5.
Oh, but
Hmm.
this guy right here, Darth Sion. Um, I mean, I'm gonna give him 6 Force Ghosts just by looking at him.
Yeah.
Uh, just he is spooky. Uh,
It, I'm giving him a 5 on this one too. Anybody who gets the name Lord of Pain. Oh, and here I think this might be he's got the same thing here, right? His body held together with the use of the dark, and you can see the cracks coming through. Oh, same thing. I don't want to see this guy in a haunted
yeah,
house.
yeah, and just like Darth Nihilus, it's the same thing. Like, so he goes into battle, he gets killed, but he gets so angry that he brings himself back to life and holds his body, his physical body, together with the dark side. But he suffers an eternal agony the entire time. Like, that's all that's happening to him. He just hurts. Um, and so yeah, I'm giving him 5.5, 6 Force Ghosts just for this. The look, the story.
He broke the
You're gonna see
scale.
him in a if you went to a Sith haunted house, this is the final room. This is the last room you're
Yeah,
going in
yeah.
because he is
See,
so.
you're saying Darth Bane's the keynote speaker. I don't know. I feel like this guy might come and just kind of bring down the house at the end. So
No, this is the guy who gets trashed at the after party and everyone parties with him because he's such an awesome Sith. That's who this guy
there you
is.
go. All right, I'll
Yeah.
take that.
All right, we're moving on. Oh, Darth Malgus. Another kind of like not a mainstream Sith, but a Sith that many people know about, right? Um, he attacks the Jedi Temple, he plunders Coruscant, and then in the end, he says, you know what, I don't want any emotion. So he kills his own lover to rid himself of every shred of emotion he has left. Falls completely to the dark side.
Yeah, so I'm giving him 4. I mean, I think in terms of just brutality and heartlessness, right? Like this is kind of what the Sith aim for. This is their he's kind of like a role model, I suppose. It's like, oh, okay, if you're gonna extend our philosophy as far as you should, then yes, you reach that point where you're even killing the person you love the most. And then I don't know, he also kind of gets the ugly award. So I'm gonna give him 4 Force Ghosts.
Yeah, I often, I first was getting into the expanding, I would mistake Darth Malgus for helmetless Vader a lot,
Very similar.
right? Just that same, I think he's on the same track as Vader, because Vader almost kills Padme. If he had killed Padme with his own hand, he might have rid himself of all emotion and become the most powerful Sith out there. So who knows? Who knows with that? So I'm gonna go 4 though as well. I think he's up there, not quite super duper duper spooky, but spooky enough that yeah, I'm gonna avoid.
I'm gonna run. I'm running.
I'm probably gonna go the other way. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that's it. We made it to the
The
end.
end of our Sith.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so thoughts overall on the Sith in general, the spooky Sith. Darth Sion, probably our favorite. But you had Malgus in there. I mean, there's so many villains in the Star Wars universe. We tend to focus on just the ones from the movies. Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Darth Sidious. Um, but it's so good to see that there's such a wide breadth and wide range of villains that exist because, I mean, it is called Star Wars. Villains are going to exist in perpetuity.
Not just one Star War. Who will win the Star War? Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And that's why this deep checklist is so fun because if you don't know these characters, that Galactic Files set is a great way to just kind of see who else is out there, and then you can, go down the what's the word that I want? Wormhole into finding out more about them and who they are. So
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, with that, it brings us to our cantina conversation. All
Oh,
right,
hey, it's
Mando.
you.
Mando's gone. Carbonite's back. I needed to drink my drink. I needed to drink my drink.
Cheers.
So raise a glass. Ding. There we go, Ray. Hmm. So today's cantina conversation is how dark is the dark side? The Star Wars universe full of creepy things, full of dark side. Obviously, we talk about the dark side all the time. But how truly dark is it and how dark can it get? Um, Ray, I'm going to open the floor to you.
Okay.
Hear what you have to say, and then I'm going to talk over you and explain my side without acknowledging your side whatsoever. Please, go ahead.
All right. So, well, I'm just to start, I think of Star Wars as more intense than necessarily scary. I mean, you have some like when Anakin gets burnt on Mustafar, like that's a very intense scene. That's a hard, thinking of okay, it's aimed at children, it's aimed at being family friendly entertainment. So those are moments that are maybe hard to watch, but not necessarily scary to watch. And you think too about how Vader is such of all sort of the bad guys in the world, he's beloved, right? And I think that's because he's actually not too scary. He's not, a horror film slasher villain. So in that sense, that's why people love Vader, because it's sort of safe to like him as a bad guy because he's not all the way on that absolutely terrifying end of the spectrum. So I don't know. Are you queuing up my scariest moment here, or not
Well,
yet?
I'd like to chime in for a second. I
Yeah.
think I think intense is the perfect word to describe it. It's an adventure, right? The Star Wars story is an adventure, much like Indiana Jones running from the boulder, right? Much like Marty McFly, will he or won't he make it back to his own timeline, right? Star Wars is the same thing. It's you're on the edge of your seat in a lot of ways. You're nervous, you're anxious, but you're never scared, you know? And that's fine. I mean, I'm not complaining. I think I'm just trying to, be very factual here. Um, and and yet, as we kind of as the Star Wars universe has, dare I say, matured or evolved since Disney acquired it, you're starting to see some scenes and some things that are following the audience in
Hmm.
terms of age, and you're starting to see some more scarier things, darker scenes, darker characters on screen. We obviously just went through 15 plus really spooky Sith that were in comic books, that were in novels, but never really on screen.
Well, and
So
I
yeah,
think you
so
said it perfectly. I think it's the audience that's evolving too. And today's viewers are going to want, demand, expect something a little bit scarier than that original audience that was okay with just intense in the 70s, and even same thing in the prequels in the 2000s, right? I think it was still okay for it to be intense but not spooky. Whereas now the stakes have been raised because there's just so much more content out there.
you no, exactly. The so yeah, so we've each picked a scary moment or something scary from Star Wars that we've experienced. So we're gonna talk about yours first. So let's bring
Wonderful.
it up here,
Yeah,
and there
there
you
there
go.
he is. And this is exactly my point, right? So this is from, for those who have not seen The Acolyte, streaming on Disney Plus, and unfortunately we will not get season 2, but hopefully they pick up some of these threads because I think there was an interesting story happening here. But precisely to that point, I think that the franchise felt they needed to up the scary factor just to, stick with the modern audience. And I think of sort of the evolution of horror masks, right? You had, okay, Jason wore a hockey mask. Maybe that was a little intimidating. And then Ghostface comes along and he's a little bit scarier. And then now you've got, Pennywise, you've got the Terrifier, which I can't even look at when I see that on display at Party City, right? It's just, I mean, the masks keep getting scarier and scarier. This moment on stage, and sorry for any spoilers, where the stranger shows up at Kalnaka's little hut, and all of the Jedi are facing off against him, and this mask comes into frame. That was legitimately the first moment in any Star Wars franchise where I was scared. I'm sitting in my apartment watching this, and I'm spooked. So I think that they're kind of getting to that point, and there was that little element of horror in it for a minute.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I think back to the timing of it, right? This is long before the original trilogy, right? When um, you had sort of an absence of evil for so long in the universe. And so when you get to Sidious, I mean, Sidious is creepy in his own right. He had the cloak and the sort of the wounded skin, you know, and he looked evil, right? Darth Vader, his mask made him look evil in a mechanical sense, right? In an artificial sense, if you will. Where I think this is more of like an organic scary. Like this
Yeah.
is this character, the stranger is inherently evil, and it sort of comes out in his mask, right? Just like, Kylo Ren gets his mask cut, he's wounded, right? And that's how sort of his character is, right? He's
It's
he's
right
right,
there.
he's wounded throughout. He's hurt. He doesn't know how to act. He doesn't know how to control his emotions. Um, that's why I think these masks sort of articulate for each Sith is like, how do you feel on the inside? And this is just like this guy's evil. He is uh deep down to the core, he wants to project his dark side to others.
Yeah.
He wants to make other people feel afraid and feel those feelings. And that's what the mask is all about.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
completely sinister.
absolutely.
So there you go. That's my scariest moment in franchise history.
All right. So mine is coming from a little different angle. A little different angle. So mine is neither film nor print, but it is something that's stuck in my brain for a long time. And so, for those of you who might have played Star Wars Battlefront, one of my favorite games, they released a game mode called Ewok
Hold on,
on Endor.
Carbonate, we can't hear you over the show.
Oh no, let me turn it.
Hold
Oh
on,
geez, let me turn it down.
turn it down a little.
All
Those
right, how's that?
Ewoks, they're loud. There you go.
There we go. So you're a stormtrooper. You're on Endor. It's pitch black night. So maybe you're a squad that happened to be out on patrol during the main battle, and you're coming back. You don't know what's going on, and you fight your own way. And so you are either a stormtrooper, which is scary in its own right, and it's super dark, right? Um, and you don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden you hear the battle cries of the Ewoks, right? You hear the horn, you hear all that.
Hunting.
You have the sound bits from the stormtroopers are they're scared, right? They don't know what's going on. You see, oh, I get stunned. They don't know what's happening, and all of a sudden this little furry thing runs out from behind a tree and stabs you with a spear, like out of nowhere. And you hear the drums, and then as your squad mates get defeated, you just see so and so is lost to the forest, and you just know like you're never gonna see these people again. These squad mates, there, you see, like, oh, there it is, just coming out of nowhere. Um, and the whole point is just to survive. And as a kid, when I was watching Return of the Jedi and all this stuff, and I know it's a little sanitized, right, for the screen. I was always fascinated with the whole like, well, what would happen? What happened? Like, people really died. Like, this is scary. These Ewoks were not like running around all cutesy wootsy. They were trying to kill stormtroopers, right? And this sort of existential dread that this game mode sort of elicits is just, ugh, it just gives me the chills. And I remember playing it at night, all the lights were off, gives me the screen, and jumping every time an Ewok would come out, and you're kind of nervous, your heart's racing because you don't know where they are. Because when you play the game as an Ewok, you can see everything, but when you're a stormtrooper, you can only see what your flashlight sees. And I never did well with those movies where everything's dark and you just see the flashlight going around. No, 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 no. No, thank you. No, thank you. No,
Yeah,
thank you.
no,
But
just to chime in here. I mean, I'd never seen that before until you showed it to me, and absolutely chilling. And I think that's just
yeah,
it, the reality of it, that this is what it would be like to actually be in battle, is super. Could you imagine doing that game in one of those VR headsets? It would be like
yeah. Oh,
overwhelmingly scary. But I think it also sort of proves the point that we made, because to find your spooky moment, you had to go kind of out there into video game realm, because there wasn't a moment in, movie or TV show that was that scary to you. So I think it kind of brings us all the way back to where we started in terms of how dark is the dark side. Intense, but not. This isn't a horror film.
right. No, exactly. Exactly. So, whew, okay, hold on. Let me just calm down a little bit. Just
A
whew,
moment.
okay. Yeah, there you go. Wait. Well, Ray,
Cheers.
continue the conversation. Cheers. Cheers to you. Mm, awesome. Awesome. Well, that brings us to our last segment. And what is our last segment? But the classic Star Wars Halloween costume. Halloween's coming up. We all know that. We're dressed up. You should get dressed up. Um, and Star Wars is a popular choice, has been a popular choice for many, many, many years. And so we're going to take a look at some classic Star Wars Halloween costumes. So this, what you're seeing right now, these, I believe it's called Don Cooper uh, Halloween costumes. These are from the 1970s. And what you'd get a plastic overalls, I don't know, your coveralls, and a plastic
Well,
mask.
flammable, right? Yeah.
Um, oh, 100%. Can't even get hot, right? It'll just melt right to your skin. But what's so interesting about these is that they are they were released in a time when obviously Star Wars was just captured the imagination of Americans everywhere. But they weren't done in a way that were like super realistic. Not that not like a movie quality, but rather the
Full
shirt
body.
and yeah, what is full body, but like you look at like I don't think Chewbacca wore a patch of his face on his own
Well,
fur.
that's what I mean. Like if you had a Yoda costume today, you'd be wearing the robe on the bottom, you'd have your little walking staff, as opposed to just face and then face again. So
Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, Yoda probably didn't own any t-shirts of himself,
we may
right?
have. I could see Yoda
Um,
doing that actually.
but as a kid, right? And you've seen the movie 6 times in the theater between May and October, and you see this costume, they were like $3. I can't remember. They were really cheap back then. And you say, Mom, oh, can I be Yoda? I want to be Yoda. You go to the store. This is your only choice. There's no Spirit Halloween where there's 10 different Star Wars costumes, all realistic and looking awesome.
Packaged and yeah.
Yeah, the full package. It was pick your character, this is what you get. Um, but still like awesome and very in the spirit of Halloween, celebrating the character in some ways, right?
Yeah. Well, I find it you can go to the next slide if you want. I find it completely charming in a way.
Yes.
Just sort of the ease behind. I think people weren't overthinking it back then, right? It was brand new. There was nothing else to compare it to. Nobody had done it better in any way. It was just I love these characters, and that's what I'm going to dress up as. I remember watching a clip on YouTube that my son and I were watching of cosplayers creating their Knights of Ren costumes for months, fabricating out of the leather and the detailing and the this and that. And that's beautiful and that's wonderful. But there's something just very charming to me about how easy this was back in
Yeah.
the day.
No, exactly. And you can take some I guess you can take some creative liberties with your costume and have a stormtrooper with a lightsaber. Um, okay, kid. Like I love it. I love
Why not?
the enthusiasm, but you know, I don't remember seeing this scene, in A New Hope at all, but what do I know, right?
They cut that scene
Exactly. Here's the Darth Vader one.
with the face.
Perfect.
I
I
love it.
think I think me and every other boy in the 1980s had that shirt, by the way. Just like it's almost like the Ernie shirt, I think I called it. Just looks very Sesame Street, very Ernie from Sesame Street. But yeah, no, but the Vader, again, it's the mask, which I'm sure the kids were over the moon for, and then boom, yeah, I'm wearing this kick-ass Darth Vader
Shirt.
shirt, plastic,
Just in case you didn't know who
poncho.
I was.
Yeah, just in case. This is me. I'm Darth Vader, right? But it's amazing. They just the look is amazing. And
I,
then
I love this with the homemade lightsabers, right? Is that just a tube
yep,
of wrapping paper wrapped up in some gold foil there?
yep.
So
And the mom or dad was like, "Hey, kids, go get your action figures and put them on the coffee table. We're gonna take a photo, okay? Just put them there. No, put them there. You stand there and you put the lightsabers together. We're gonna take a nice photo with your Star Wars toys. Like that's what the setup." And the kids were absolutely more than willing to oblige and take this photo. Um, you know, Chewie with. And by the way, the way the Chewbacca mask is, just this so like it is a little creepy,
looks a
right?
little more
Like
Planet of the Apes, but yeah,
well, it's the mouth. I think it's the smile
yeah.
that's doing it. It's just oh my god, that is so creepy. The way the eyes pop.
Would you
I
give
think there's
candy
next
if
one. Yeah,
that child showed up?
The Ewok one too, right? Uh, just like I mean, this one's kind of cool too. This one is so by the time they get to Jedi, look, they get a little more accurate. They just sort of give the fur. They put Return of the Jedi because they want you to know it's definitely Star Wars, right? That's a marketing tool. But yeah, the kid wanted to be an Ewok, and here you go. Uh, adorable, adorable. I love it. Yeah. Um, but then you get the family costumes, right? So Halloween 1983, the Leia on Endor, love that. The C3PO and the Stormtrooper is like perfect. Obviously, they cut some cardboard and painted it, right? But my favorite is the Gamorrean guard. I mean, that is like just just perfect. Like
It's pretty
that,
amazing. I love the homemade effort that went into all of this because now you're getting into, it's been around what for now about a decade. So yeah, people are starting, cosplay is starting to be a thing, and people are starting to really put effort into these homemade costumes. By the way, I think I had that pumpkin
oh,
to
I
collect all
have
my
one
candy in.
now. What do you mean had one? I'm pretty sure I have about three of them
There you go.
sitting around somewhere. Oh my goodness. And then the prequels were not immune. They came out with these costume kits again, but as you can see, definitely more movie accurate. They tried to actually make you look like Padme, Queen Amidala. This is Halloween 1999, people. Um, and obviously there were probably many, 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 many little girls out there on Halloween as Padme Amidala for sure, right? For sure. Uh, and then this is what it looked like. Here's the Darth Maul one. You get the lightsaber, you get the mask, and you get the hood. That's all you need, really, if you think
But
about it.
but again, I think now you're getting they're just sort of that charm is gone because
Yeah.
it's completely polished, it's completely packaged, and yes, I see a lot of I still see every Halloween a lot of little boys running around as Darth Maul, Darth Vader, but they all kind of they've just bought it off the shelf like this. Nobody's putting any sort of homemade effort into it. So
Exactly. No, exactly. But still, if I were 10 years old in 1999, yep. Yeah, well, I probably would have been Obi-Wan is probably would have been my go-to, but Darth Maul would have been a close second. But a lot of my friends definitely would have channeled Darth Maul here. But yeah, like you said, the charm is gone. It's this, you know, just like all the kind of the prequel toys, why they still haven't caught on, well, not caught on, but mass produced for a mass audience, just kind of like, but in a way that was done ch- cheaply. I can't describe it. Not cheaply in the materials, but more like, yeah, just make the mask and just
not a
we'll just
ton of
make this
thought.
cheap little hood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I agree. All right, and then we have the bad costumes. Here we go. So this is the
These
one.
I
Yeah, I love
love.
this. This is yeah. Obviously Leia with the buns on the side on the head, right?
A little
I don't
bit
know the
different
duct
than
tape.
my buns today.
The duct tape with the loaves of bread or whatever it is on the side of the head is kind of funny. Um, you have the bucket and looks like just like gold tinfoil and like saran wrap for C3PO.
And
And the
C3PO
R2D2
looks
actually
like
is
a
not.
human-sized Dixie cup there. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, the painting is pretty good. I like the decoration is pretty good, but I just love if you Google bad Star Wars costumes or whatever, you're going to see a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it, just keep in mind, a lot of it's done in jest and fun. You know, they weren't trying. Obviously, these three were not trying to make movie accurate costumes, or were they? I don't know.
Leia
No,
didn't hold it
definitely.
all together with duct tape? I don't know.
Yeah, no, 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 no. Exactly, exactly. But yeah, but that with that, that brings us to the very end of our Spooky Sith special. Um, we hope you enjoyed this walk down spooky lane in the Star Wars galaxy. Um, and you know, like we said from the beginning, Star Wars is can be anything to anyone, and it can be fun, it can be exhilarating, it can be um, just thrilling, it can be sad, it can be right. And we're just pulling out this spooky side of it that definitely exists and definitely resonates with a lot of people, and definitely like that darker side of Star Wars is something that people really enjoy, people talk about um, to this day.
Yep,
So great.
exactly. So this was a look at the dark side, the darkest side, and happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, happy Halloween. We'll see you next time.